Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to try and do this in one take, and because I don't want to have to edit little bits and pieces, and I want this to be as efficient as possible because time is of the essence. I'm here today not to talk about education, about teaching, venting about my never-ending frustrations about the education world. I am here to talk about my anime update. What have I been watching? Not much. This past year, I've only watched maybe 2 or 3 series. And, well, 2 of them are a continuation of stuff that I started last year. I have been watching other things too, because waiting for new seasons to commence or to continue, waiting for new season or second part of the season to start, I've watched 2 other TV shows, and one of which is Barry. Barry it's the kind of show you either love it or you hate it. And a lot of people, they still think of Bill Hader as a comedic actor, and they cannot picture him in a serious role. Now, in his serious delivery, Bill Hader makes me laugh. There's something, I don't want to say awkward, but not as in awkward, aka bad acting. The content in Barry is dark humor, and if you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend you finding a streaming platform and watching it. It was the last season, and the last season, the best way I can describe it is a curveball. If you are expecting a redemption arc for Barry, for the main character, you will be disappointed. I was not expecting the ending that I witnessed. I was not expecting, spoiler alert, so many deaths. I was not expecting those who remained alive to be the ones that remained alive. Like, I was not expecting that at all. I wasn't expecting, just to be clear, I was not expecting a happily ever after and they had many kids. No, I was not expecting that. But I was not expecting the end that occurred. But it will make you laugh. It might also make you cry. It was a very interesting last final season. Another TV show that I watched, and it was also a final season, was The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The dialogue in that series never disappoints. It's fast-paced. It's very content-rich. I love the fact that they take historical events, historical elements, historical characters, and incorporate it in the series. I think that is just amazing. The fact that they used Lenny Bruce, for instance, as I don't want to say a plot device or a tool to allow the character of Maisel to develop. It was just so well done, and it will be the kind of series that I will want to rewatch just to catch that little bit like that I may have missed because I'm either laughing so much and I missed, it's the beauty of having streaming platforms like that. Now, also, this summer, I watched one movie and one TV show that was so unexpected. Barbie, movie of the year. That movie needs to get Oscar nominations. I am just putting that out there. You need to throw some Oscars in the direction of that movie. It was brilliant. Ryan Gosling and Simu Liu's dance fight sequence was the action sequence I didn't know I needed in my life. There need to be awards. Throw awards that way. That movie deserves it hands down. I also ended up watching a Korean comedy, drama, rom-com, I don't even know how to call it. Fantasy for sure. Fantastical. So the name of the series is Heartbeat. And it's available on Amazon Prime. It might be available on other platforms, but I got it on Amazon Prime. And if you think, when I say vampire, okay, you know, you have an idea of what to expect. No, I read the description and I did not expect what I got. There are some action sequences. There's definitely a lot of romance, mushy, emotional moments, but it's entertaining. It's funny. It was the perfect filler to watch while I'm waiting for new episodes of different anime. One of which being, and I didn't think I would get hooked on it because I am so not a shoujo type of person. You'd think. But even in certain, like, you know, romantic scenes, when I'm on a streaming platform, my finger is on the fast forward button because, like, okay, this is too painful to watch. It's too long. It's like, how much, you know, longing dialogue can you put in a scene? But My Happy Marriage was unexpectedly entertaining. I gritted my teeth during the first episode because My Happy Marriage, I want you to think about Cinderella, okay? Cinderella, but turned up to 15, okay? So the main character, Mio, is a servant in this wealthy family, okay? And she gets mistreated. She is the Cinderella. And you find out that, you know, she's not the product of the current marriage that you see depicted on screen. She is the child of another woman who the father is, you know, the head of this big household. Anywho, and she, you know, at a certain age, Japanese girls are, you know, promised to marry into certain families, and she gets sent to this household, and, you know, the main character is brooding, the main character is, you know, dark, he's very the quiet type. But where it gets interesting, and I'm telling you, it was painful to watch the first episode because the main character, you know, because she's abused, there's a lot of like, oh, I'm sorry I did this, I'm sorry I spoke, I'm sorry I did this, I don't deserve this. You know, it's like, oh my God, how much of this I'm gonna have to endure. But then you find out that, okay, she's supposed to have special abilities, but she doesn't. And you find out there's a lot of supernatural involved. I thought it was just like historical fiction. It is, but with a lot of supernatural superimposed. So it got really interesting really fast. So think Cinderella, and after the first episode, it's the typical Cinderella. You know, she gets mistreated by her stepsister, her stepmom. But then episode 2, it's Cinderella, what happens once she gets engaged and she meets the prince. And, you know, the series is not done yet, so it's getting very interesting because it has the action angles that I'm looking for, and that appeals to me. I don't want to say it reminds me of The Irregular at Magic High, but it makes me think of that, where you meet a character who is, you know, everyone's told he has no magical abilities, and then all of a sudden, you know, minds are blown. Oh my God, he is all powerful. I've got my own personal issues with The Irregular at Magic High, but I'm expecting something like that from My Happy Marriage. And before you ask, no, I haven't read the manga. I don't have time to read. I mean, I could be reading, but, you know, it's yeah, it's a lot of time that I don't have on my hands, and I know it exists. Now, the two series that I've been literally looking forward to watch, and you know, you make a promise with your partner, your family, that you're not going to start watching a series until everybody's got time, and then you sit down and you watch together. That's what basically happened with Demonslayer and Jujutsu Kaisen. So, let's start with Demonslayer. Demonslayer, we get to meet some new characters. We get to meet my favorite character, the Love Hashira, Mitsuri Kenroji, which I cosplayed at Halloween. I'm so happy. And I see myself in that character. Not that I have any special abilities, but I find that there's a lot of quirks. Her backstory is like, you know, she was told not to eat a lot so she can like look pretty, and you know, you have to be a certain way. Like, I love that character so much. But I've got issues with Demonslayer. Demonslayer is mid, all right? And I'm not talking about the animation. The animation is chef's kiss, all right? It is phenomenal. It is a fantastically animated series. My issue with Demonslayer is that not only the strength of the bad guys is growing at an exponential level, but my issue is that it has become predictable. You know that Tanjiro will have to face Muzan eventually. So you will watch an action sequence and you're not terribly afraid. You're not worried. You are not wondering, holy cats, is he going to die? No, because you know eventually he has to meet the bad guy. And for me, that takes away a bit of the surprise element, I don't know how to describe it, but when I'm watching a show and like even, and spoiler alert, please avert your ears, your eyes, even Nezuko's level up, you know, I can walk in the sun without the sparkle. I can walk in the sun. Didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me. You know, I was fully expecting her to die, but I was not surprised. It's like, well, they're some of the key elements in this series. If they die, done. So to me, when a show gets to that point, do I still want to watch it? Yes, of course I want to watch it. But like, how many episodes is it going to take to defeat, you know, the main bad guy? If it took an entire season just to defeat 2, 3, like, really? And it doesn't help that they include in the action sequence, and I'm going to get to that in a moment, they include backstories. So an action sequence that technically should be taking, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes, okay, real time, narration time, actually takes an entire season because you're covering the backstory of different characters. They've done it so much better in Jujutsu Kaisen when they've dedicated a season to a backstory. You discover the bromance of Gojo and Geto. You know, you discover the bromance that everybody's been looking for, okay? And they've dedicated that entire season to their backstory. Why have they become the way they've become? You know? So Jujutsu Kaisen in that respect is so much superior to Demon Slayer. So much superior. And I find that Jujutsu Kaisen Unlike Demonslayer, which is more shonen, Jujutsu Kaisen is shonen with hints of seinen because of some of the topics, especially that season. I find the religious extremism, like, this is not a topic for young kids. You know, the existentialist dread. Like, some people will say, oh, it's pure shonen. It's not pure shonen. It's not shonen. It's definitely shonen with hints of seinen, and it was amazing because when you looked at an action sequence, you knew that it would resolve itself eventually. Demonslayer, like, just stretched out the fight scene, the fight sequence, and it reminded me so much of One Piece. Now, before you get me started, One Piece is brilliant. Okay, for something to last that long is mind-blowing, but I know why it lasts that long. Because if you look at narration time, a 5-minute fight sequence lasts 10-15 episodes. And you think I'm exaggerating, but not by much. And then you forget about, once you're done with the backstory, once you're done with okay, it's a flashback, he's thinking about his past, and that action sequence, people forget what it was initially about. While as in Jujutsu Kaisen, there are some flashbacks, but they're short and they do not distract you from what is supposed to happen on screen. And that's why I say that Demonslayer is mid and Jujutsu Kaisen so much superior to Demonslayer, because it's avoiding the backstory flashback trap that that we see in One Piece. I tried watching it. I watched a bit of it with my daughter who wanted to start watching it, so I was watching some episodes with her. But I found it very difficult to watch because, like, did they just spend 5 episodes on this flashback? What were they fighting about again? I hate that because you can go on a tangent and then it distracts you from the main story. So that's my anime update. I haven't watched anything else. I haven't started any new series. I know there are tons of series that I should be watching, that I should watch. To be honest, I really want to watch Full Metal Alchemist. And I want to watch it because I haven't watched it properly. I watched the original series briefly, bits and pieces, a long time. Like, I think when I say a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I watched the original series. So I think I need to watch the new series and just so I can get a grasp, because some people say it's the best anime out there. You know, that's very subjective. And my daughter pulled out an anime that we watched about 15 years ago. Of course, the name escapes me now. Azumanga Daioh, there we go. And Azumanga Daioh was entertaining. Oh, but I loved it. But she was rewatching it, or at least she was rewatching clips, or maybe I just saw the DVDs out, you know, because yes, I'm that kind of person. I have DVDs of old series. So we're approaching the 20-minute mark. I just wanted to give you my anime update. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and have yourselves a lovely rest of the day and summer, because next week we're starting work again. Oh boy, gasp. That's going to be rough. Alrighty, talk to you soon. Bye.